Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report. It's Dom Knight and...
Charles Firth.
That's right. Before we get into today's episode, just a bit of admin. We have put down the price of our subscriptions, not because, Charles, we acknowledge that the previous price of $8.99 a month was a bit much in this day and age of cost of living challenges, or because we didn't do enough bonus episodes as we'd said we would. No, it's just because we want more people to buy us a cup of coffee every month. $3.99 a month it costs now.
It was very much. It was a sort of, let's democratise this.
Yeah.
This is such a good product.
It's the people's podcast now.
Yes, it's sort of like the way Apple released the iPad and then put down the price of it a few months later.
It's less than half, yeah.
Yes,
that's right.
even though it was the sort of top-selling product of all time.
That's right. It was in no way a reflection of lack of demand. Yeah. But look, to the people who've been subscribing, and there are some of you, thank you so much.
Yes.
You kind, cost-insensitive people.
Yes. In that spirit, though, I should pass on some feedback we got from earlier in the week.
But just before you do, Charles, chaser.com.au/podcast, you can subscribe there via Apple Podcasts or via Acast Plus. Please do. It's less than a cup of coffee per month, and it makes a big difference to us.
Or 4 cups of coffee from 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just post us 4 cups of coffee from 7-Eleven. That would be equally useful. I'm sure that's true. All right, you've got some feedback for us. We have to respond to our market.
Okay, so the thing is, I don't know whether you remember, I think it was like on Monday, we did this thing about how Tanya Plibersek had, I'm sure as an accident, approved 116 new gas mines.
The new gas mines, that's right.
But I think the whole point is that, for me, I think she just misinterpreted Minister for the Environment as Minister against the Environment. And it was just like an administrative error.
What does for mean these days?
Well, exactly. Yeah, she's certainly Minister for Climate Change, isn't she? She's doing everything she can to
change the climate.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah, okay. Have we heard from her office at all?
No.
So we're not quite at the level of influence where we will mention someone's name and they'll hear immediately that they're featured on the Chaser Report.
Oh, no, I'm sure they're...
In some ways...
They've gone to ground.
They're quaking in their boots.
The reason why we haven't heard from them is because they're avoiding, they're Perrottet brother style of avoiding us.
Have we seen Tanya Plibersek in the state of New South Wales recently?
Yeah.
Yes, no. I believe she was at the parade on Saturday night.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so great to hear. So anyway, morning, Charles, long-time podcast listener here. Oh, sorry, it was last Friday that we did that episode where you rightly ragged on Tanya Plibersek. You then also talked about the excess books and merch clogging your office that you need to get rid of, right? And I thought to myself, maybe you guys should stop making so much useless junk and shipping it, because there's a massive carbon footprint there too. It's like you're polluting the world, much like the gas Tanya loves so much.
Well, Charles, isn't that just a smaller and more pathetic version of being, as I'm sure Tanya Plibersek is, broadly in favour of saving the planet?
Yes.
And yet,
we were just
there's a cost of doing business whereby you have to approve gas wells and or ship crap merchandise. I mean, to be fair, the giant avocado, let's be very clear about it, right? It's inflatable. It ships in a small package, in a small inconvenient package. It then becomes a big inconvenient package once you inflate it.
Yes, and it's very inconvenient to inflate. So the whole way through, it's deeply inconvenient. But yeah, look, so I responded to this listener by saying, look, point taken, we're not going to do any more
merch.
Sort of crap merch. We're going to move into just quality, thoughtful stuff.
So does that mean, Charles, you are just completely without any evidence you can pull it off?
Yes.
Undertaking not to produce unpopular, money-losing merchandise? Because what in your track record makes you think you'll be able to manage that?
Well, I think the way to do it is to not release any merch at all.
Oh, yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah. That would be 100% success rate then.
I think that's true.
But no, look, but there is one caveat, a fairly large caveat on that.
Oh, yeah.
I said, look, okay, we'll stop doing the crap merch. At the same time, it is true that, I don't know whether you remember, we released some Qantas.
I know, the Qantas
backpacks.
merch, yeah.
Like this was months ago when Qantas was in the news for having such terrible baggage handling. Luckily, Qantas still has pretty bad baggage handling.
And is in the news again
Yeah.
for its billion-dollar profit, right?
But I don't know whether you know this, but most of those bags, like we got a small shipment of them, but most of those bags got lost in the post, right?
Was it because they were being transported via Qantas?
Well, they were being yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it was actually more Australia Post or something.
Of course.
But the point is that I've been told that they'll turn up in mid-March.
Seriously?
Now. Yes, honestly. And so, because they're it was this. I don't know whether I've told this anecdote. It's an extraordinary anecdote, which is on the app, on the Australia Post app. It can tell you exactly where the box is. It's out at Macquarie Park, and you ring Australia Post and you go, and you say, can I come and just get the box from you? No way. No one's allowed on our side. Right. And then you go, well, can you just ship me the box that's, clearly on the app says it's at Macquarie Park? And they go, well, no, the only thing we can do as the phone consultants is to ask the facility to do it. And they, two consultants have said to me now, no, we're aware of the issue. They've actually had meetings about your box, which is stuck there, but it's stuck in some bureaucratic Kafkaesque thing where I don't know, it's sort of like it's Schrodinger's box where
it exists yet does not exist at the same time.
Yes.
Isn't that an amazing symbol of where Australia Post is at in their modernisation, and yet in the fact that no one wants to really ship anything anymore other than you? At the same time as they can tell you exactly where the product is, they're absolutely unable to do anything about it.
Yes,
they
that's
can
right.
completely diagnose the problem and in no way solve it.
And the funny thing is, this happened in the lead up to Christmas, and we said to them, well, we'll do basically anything to get that box from you before Christmas, because that's when people buy things.
Yeah.
And they went, well, you can't even start the process of filing a complaint for until 90 days after it's been officially lost. And then I said, well, when did it start being lost? And they said, it's out of Macquarie Park.
Oh, that's
it's like, oh my God, it's so infuriating. Anyway, so the point is, promise no more crap merchandise, except when the Qantas bags do finally, because they're really good bags. I use them all the time. Like, they're actually not crap, but I am going to sell those.
What happens when you fly on Qantas with one of those bags? Have you tried it?
Well, because I don't know whether people know, but the bags are a Qantas logo with the arse in it,
ARS,
and then there's a little. I'll go and get one.
Charles leaves the room, and frankly, with a spring in his step, he's actually running into his storage closet to get a Qantas ARSE bag. He's now running back. Is this the only one in existence? Is it the prototype?
This is the only one I've got.
It's a kangaroo pooing. So it's important to know that the kangaroo is pooing out the Southern Cross.
Yeah. And then it says all my other bags have been lost by the airline. Right.
Of course.
And so the whole idea is you take this on your Qantas flight, but you don't check any other luggage in.
Oh, it's very small.
And that's how you... No, it's convenient. It's not small. Sure. It's convenient.
So, but the beauty of that is you've been completely overplayed by the universe, because the bags that say all my other bags have been lost have themselves been lost. Charles, you're a genius.
The Chaser Report. Less news, more often.
That's not what we're going to talk about on the show today. On the show today, I want to pitch to you, Dom, a new segment idea.
Oh, yeah.
For this podcast.
What's the new idea?
So, and then the other thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about this whole, cost of living crisis. Everyone says, well, you should just buy everything at Aldi.
I love that you're getting the cost of living crisis after 10 solid minutes on your merch. That's all right.
Yeah. So we're going to also do that. I've got a few thoughts about some of the Aldi products.
Very good.
So, but first of all, let's just get into this new segment idea, which is, I think that we should have a segment every Thursday where we pitch ideas for new segments for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
And my idea for the first pitch is that we have a segment where we pitch ideas.
Do we have to then do do you have to actually do the segments, or do we just pitch ideas?
Well, I think we pitch ideas. I don't think we have to do them. Like, we definitely don't have to do them if they're crap ideas.
Well, we're building out this new Iconoclast podcast network, and you'll see some more things coming up. The Shot podcast is already out there.
Yes.
Welcome to the Future is its own podcast. There'll be a whole bunch of other stuff coming too.
And just before we started recording today, you said, I should bring back Oddcast.
Yes, the podcast about bad podcasts. That'll be
Yes.
fun. So there's more podcasts coming from us in the future,
but Oddcast was a great segment.
That was a good
wasn't
segment.
it? Yeah. So
there'll be other things that featured on our radio show about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. But do you have any ideas for? Because I was thinking that could also be. It could be a good idea to actually make us think broader about what this podcast.
Or do you want to spin off another podcast full of ideas about what a podcast could be?
That's a great idea. Yeah. But so, do you have any ideas? Good ideas? Like, what are we missing on this podcast? Like, we sort of talk a bit about the news, which I think works.
Well, I want to hear from us in other countries. I want to know who is the equivalent of the Chaser Report in, I don't know, Pakistan or Ukraine or whatever it is. Can we get them on? Or India, Singapore? Who are the people who are chatting about what the government's doing and making fun of them there? Or are they all in jail? I'm not sure. We'll find out. We can find out.
I think it's very flattering towards us to say that we would be in jail in any country.
Only in that country.
Right.
No,
okay.
not here. And I imagine Singapore, even this insipid level of commentary would attract the attention of the authorities.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that's a good idea. So we have podcasts from around the world.
Yeah.
And we contact
global friends, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Off the top of my head, given that I didn't know this was going to be the podcast segment.
Okay. I want to do a segment, because what else do we not cover? I don't think we cover the youth.
Yeah.
Nearly enough.
Look, if you want to cover segments of the addressable audience that we don't cover,
yes,
and women would be something to address.
No, we've got lots of women.
Some
of my favourite people are women.
We used to have some amazing female colleagues, but we'll have to get them back.
Well, they keep on being...
That's right. They keep transcending us, don't they?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, with our greatest professional respect and credit, but they do keep doing that.
I think we also need to have a segment about American politics. I feel like that should be, because we occasionally get David Smith on.
Yeah, and then when Chaz does a podcast with him every week that's 600 hours long.
Yeah.
But not comedic in nature.
There's a lot to say about American politics.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And we could just it should be something like just a review of the election ads of America or something.
Or
like
just a review of all the other election podcasts would be very interesting. Yeah. If you have any ideas for what we should cover on the podcast that we're not covering now, podcasts@chaser.com.au.
Yeah.
Or just text Charles. That's what everyone else seems to do.
Because I think the idea that I had for which I can do next week is I went out to a reptile expo on the weekend.
Oh, we have never covered reptile expos
before. And there is a massive market. Like, there were queues, like, literally around the block to get into this reptile expo. And you just go, well, that's an addressable market.
You want to spin off a reptile-based Chaser?
No, not just podcast. Like, I think attract them to this podcast.
To the Chaser Report.
And we have
featuring reptile content.
Reptile segment each week where we talk about reptile-based comedy.
Okay. Yeah, let's just make it more niche than it already is. Australian politics wasn't niche enough. Let's do reptiles.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So then the final thing that I just want to talk about today is Aldi.
Oh, we've gotten onto something that people might actually relate to 15 minutes into the podcast. Yeah. Aldi, what are your thoughts on Aldi?
So
Charles?
this is the thing, Dom. I, yesterday, went to Aldi and after doing lots of research, I decided to buy a kilogram of their very famous, very award-winning single origin coffee beans.
Really?
Because for a kilo of roasted coffee beans, single origin from Brazil, it was just $16.99.
Yeah.
Which is literally about a quarter the price that you would pay in any decent coffee shop.
That's true.
For a kilo of beans.
But Charles, just so you know,
yes,
single origin means
yes,
that all the beans have come from the one coffee plantation, right? They're all from the one place. They're all the same, basically.
Right.
It doesn't in any way mean that they're going to be good. They might have gone to the crappiest plantation in the whole of Brazil that just wanted to dump all of their beans on Aldi at a cheap price,
But this it got Money Magazine's Best Supermarket Coffee of the Year award.
All right.
I'll get the packet. Just hold on. I'll get the packet.
Charles has once again left the podcast to fetch a prop, which frankly he could have gotten before the start of the podcast had he wanted to. All right, he's bringing back a big bag of coffee.
Okay.
What's it called?
It's called Lazio Single Origin Beans, award-winning coffee. See, award-winning. I don't actually know which award
Which awards did they win? Because
it's made from 0% Australian ingredients, which suggests that it's good. And it's part of the Rainforest Alliance.
Yeah.
Which means that they've cut down a rainforest, I think, probably. And it's roasted in Melbourne using small batch production.
Really?
Each roast is tended by hand by a close-knit team of award-winning roasters.
Yes, but Charles, imagine the roaster in Melbourne. Like they must have found the least competent roaster in Melbourne. Like every roaster in Melbourne would want in their bearded sort of little hipster warehouse to work for something other than a big supermarket chain. Like these poor people.
Yes.
They can probably barely roast
But look,
beans.
it's even got flavour notes on the back. Medium roast, toffee flavours, bittersweet cocoa, milk, chocolate. Like, that is all fucking bullshit. It is the fucking most horrible... It's like drinking dirt.
But single origin dirt.
Ah,
From one particular plantation in Brazil. Look, I don't want to cast aspersions on the particular roasters in Melbourne, because what if they're amazing? I can see here, I've looked it up, and has won quite a lot of awards. They've won 6 medals for this Lazio stuff. Is it just possible that you have terrible tasting coffee?
I don't think that's possible. I think that a more likely scenario is that there are awards for, by marketing firms for their success in marketing a piece of shit and making people buy it.
It says on the back here, if you're not entirely satisfied with this product, please return it to your nearest Aldi store for a full refund or replacement. So you get your $16.99 back. It says it has all of the richness and character you'd expect to find in your favourite local cafe. Now,
It really
with all
doesn't.
due respect to Aldi, none of their products, I don't go to Aldi to find all the quality I'd find from another retailer. I go there because it's cheap and adequate.
But that's not true. Like, there's some products in Aldi that are quite good. Like we were saying, dishwasher pellets are
Dishwasher
good.
tablets. I mean, things that taste like, does the coffee taste like soap? There you go. Their nappies are very good.
Yes.
But again,
yes.
that's a close association with crap.
Yes.
Aldi's stuff,
that's
it's
the thing.
crappy, but it's cheap. That's what they do.
Because their cheese is possibly their tasty cheese is possibly the worst cheese I've ever tasted. It's like not tasty. It's like eating.
So you don't go to Aldi for that.
No,
you go to Aldi for the cheapest possible champagne that technically counts as champagne because they somehow did a deal with the least prestigious champagne house technically in the Champagne region. Yeah. And I brought it to this very table on New Year's Eve, Charles, and it wasn't that bad.
It was drinkable.
Aldi's stuff, with all due respect to them, it's a great place. Particularly when life's so expensive, it's, look, it's not nearly as good, but it's from Aldi, so it was cheap.
Yes.
That's okay.
But I'll tell you what is good at Aldi.
What's that?
I bought one last weekend, and I'm very pleased with it. It's their caravan covers.
The caravan.
I bought a caravan cover.
Oh, wow.
Now all I've got to do is buy a caravan.
Well, that's always the way.
But if ever I buy a caravan, I'll have a really cheap cover from Aldi that I bought.
Well, so Charles, of the $16.99 that you spent on this coffee, how many dollars of value do you think you got out of it? Because $16.99 is about the cost of a bag of coffee, a quarter the size of that.
That's right. I got no value out of it. I got very angry, and it took me it took up about an hour of my time because I was trying to get the grain size right to make it work, and it's just actually I've come to the conclusion it's just horrible. So $0.
So instead of in any way just addressing the news or you just wanted to spend this podcast complaining about a $16.99 purchase, which frankly you should have been forewarned for the fact that it was from Aldi. Let me have a bit of a sniff of this coffee.
Why don't you have the rest of it?
No, it doesn't smell great.
Our gear is from Rode.
I can't believe this is the episode.
We're part of the Acast. We're part of the Iconoclast network.
I was going to ask for reviews. We haven't had some for a while, but I think why don't you review one where we try a little bit harder? We'll do that next time. Thank you for listening.